across conversations in London on a regular basis that investors who invest in similar projects like yourself, that there is a new layer of looking at the securitization of the energy infrastructure. Like previously, one wouldn't mind if this is a metal cable which goes into the sea or is part of the wind farm, or it could be plastic coated, so it's less detectable against anyone who wants to harm any part of this energy infrastructure. Is this a topic since the Ukraine war that one suddenly has another layer of, or another perspective on how to keep this critical infrastructure secure and safe? Or is in Switzerland everything safe and one doesn't need to wonder?
I only can really answer on this from a pure Swiss perspective, because that's the only country where you have practical experience with this.
Yeah.
And practically this is a topic that came up, let's say, in the last year, more or less, and not before. And astonishingly, not mainly with Russia in focus, but with China in focus. So basically, the topic came up. There is in Switzerland there is quite a strong regulation to restrict foreign ownership on real estate. Everything else tended to be in the past very open and very accessible to everyone, including basically critical infrastructure investments. There is quite a new discussion basically to adapt the same real estate legislation to the infrastructure field, but that's an open topic still in parliamentary discussion. It does not look as this would be fully implemented. I think the resistance is too high there. I think Switzerland still sees itself as a trading nation, basically, that wants to be open for all kind of investments, and explicitly also Chinese. I think that's probably when you look into the morning discussions, something that probably Switzerland shares with Germany. I think we are part of the Western world. I would say so, but obviously I think the integration towards China is also relatively large already, and there is no willingness to substantially de-risk this.
Thank you.
Did this answer it?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. Oscar, can I bring you in on the same question of energy securitization? And do you look at another layer of how to protect the infrastructure, or is it not an issue necessarily?
No, I think let's say that probably two messages on the energy security. First is in the micro, that it's okay in this new environment for energy and electricity generation. So we see an environment in which is going to be much more distributed, the generation. So on the critical points of the electricity network are going to be less. 10 years ago, in a country, you may blow up 5 nuclear plants and you block out the full country. Now, probably what we'll see are much more balanced and distributed kind of sources of energy in different places. So this, I haven't seen the new environment as better in terms of energy security. The other key point of discussion now when we talk with the different governments and so on, it's, okay, are we changing a dependency on fossil fuel to a dependency of industry? So production of modules, solar modules, production of windmills are very much located in China, in Asia. So IRA, part of the IRA has a strong support on create industry and the full supply chain into the US, and the EU now should be thinking on how want to play this game. So because 80%, 90% of the modules are produced in China, and we have wind turbines produced in Europe, so Enercon, Vestas, but more and more the stake of Chinese manufacturers is increasing. So probably in terms of geopolitics or security of supply, I think it's the new environment will be more in the industrialization and the supply chain control of the countries, more than the specific security of one element or other element in the market.
Yeah, I understand. And Oscar, do you have are there differences between the different jurisdictions you're investing in? I know you're headquartered in Madrid, you're investing in projects in Germany, you're investing in UK and possibly others. Are there different trends? Are there different patterns to each jurisdiction? Or is it all?
No, sure. So energy, it's very critical, very political. So it's every jurisdiction is completely different. So also we invest in somehow between the infrastructure and the private equity. So we create companies in the parts of the value chain that we consider that have a gap or going to have an evolution on one specific jurisdiction to make a value creation. So we did in the US in 2008 that we were the leaders in solar development. We are now the leaders in Germany in wind repowering, so with more than 3 gigawatts of repowering potential in our assets. So we try to find this specific niche on the overall energy transition value chain. So being said that, energy is quite regulated industry or sector. It's and depends on very much on the specifics. We see, just to give a couple of examples. So now we are in Chile, and we've seen this cannibalization of the or estimation that the electricity price will be declined in the European countries. In Chile, we have 30% of the hours, the electricity cost zero. Not $1, not 10 cents of a dollar, no, zero for 8-10 hours per every day. So this changed everything. So now the electricity or the energy is more the moment in which you consume, the flexibility, this kind of transform the energy into other kind of energy or products, hydrogen, data centers, water, desalinization. And the more and more we're going to be seeing more these issues on flexibility, manageability, decarbonization beyond the actual energy. So this is a change of paradigm probably in the energy and also in the geopolitics.
Thank you, Oscar. And Andreas, do you see different patterns? I know you're investing in Switzerland, as you mentioned. You're investing in Eastern Europe. You're looking at projects in the Balkans. Can you compare or explain to us the different patterns over there?
I think in this, this very much follows to the explanation that we just heard. I think in the end, the energy markets are quite of national interest in all of these countries. I think the main difference is only how they basically are implementing it. So and you see different degrees of it. So I mean, if we just keep the Balkans aside because they're not even in the EU, but even if you stick in the EU countries, obviously you have a certain push from the EU level into integration, into harmonization, but you have a very strong counter push on the very obvious side with the implementation of tax now to protect all the consumers. Poland, for instance, basically did a new legislation last year, literally over the weekend, without any warning, just imposed basically a maximum turnovers or caps on the margins on the trading, which came out of nothing, was not coordinated. So I think a different mindset, or not a different mindset, so the mindset is very comparable, but different instruments that are applied. That's what you see, the Balkans. The same, I mean, they just have less room to maneuver, basically, because there's a smaller production base. I think what from an investor's basis, I think that's what we can influence and what we should focus on. I'd like to follow up on this idea. I think we have to start getting used to the idea that at least for certain periods of time or certain categories, therefore I use the PV example, the energy price also in Europe will go towards zero. So I think it is, in many European countries, I would expect it's only a matter of a few years until we have at peak hours at sunny days, the energy costs will go down. So I think in this aspect, we need to invest much more into anything that brings us closer to the end client, basically, where we control local prosumer networks, for instance, where we have decentralized production entities, or where we have storage, where we basically can play with with the increasing arbitrage opportunities. Because, I mean, that's only one side. On the other hand side, obviously, all these elements open up massively new arbitrage opportunities and then trading opportunities.
Thank you. May I open the floor to questions? Anyone on the floor, please wait for the microphone. Anyone would like to come in and pop a question at our panelists? If you need another minute to contemplate. Oh yeah, Dominic, please go ahead. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Great honor, especially for Switzerland. Only one comment to how important is plan approval. I would like to really make this point because it's so important. You know how much permission you need in Germany to build up one wind turbine? How many? 200. 200 permission to build up one wind turbine. So that's a key element, and I would like to come back. If not together with the European Union, we find a solution for this as soon as possible. A lot of our dreams of green transition will be dreams. And I think that's you have to make really, really clear. And also for investments, it's a critical point from the beginning. So plan approval sometimes is, for me, the key element for my question to you, obviously the same, for investment decision making.
Thank you. Andreas, would you like to comment on that, on the issue of
obviously,
rules and regulation?
That's clearly a main point. For instance, when we did a wind park investment in Poland, it takes also in Poland, it takes 7 to 8 years until you build a new turbine. And we've only one project now in Germany that where we decide already, and we are in the process of investing. And this is, again, in the PV sector, which I personally would, as you can imagine, think is the least attractive. I mean, it will still generate an attractive return, but the reason was simply that time to market is fastest here. And I would not see that we could have a similar return on an even more attractive asset, because there basically the IRR would be destroyed basically in the whole process of waiting for all the relevant permits.
But do you see any jurisdictions or any country where you have investments, and I remember your colorful map, where it is easier, or a government or a regulator would say, we want to attract investments, we would like more, we want to reduce from 200 permissions down to 150 or something?
Clearly not. Let me make the example of the most exotic investment. We have won the project, it's a wind park in Kosovo that we are basically acquired the project rights and where we started the whole process. And there initially, I would even after years, you still keep a certain level of naivety. So I actually thought it would be good for the local government and be supported because there is an energy shortage. It will be a massive foreign investment. But also there, I think the national focus and the pressure to basically keep this national focus is relatively high. And I would stress this national focus because I think many of these permit elements, obviously you need to do all the environmental checks, etc. I think that's normal, and I mean we are on the same scrutiny as a Swiss or with Luxembourg fund domiciled entity, independently if we invest in Switzerland or in Cambodia or wherever. So I mean that's not making the difference for us. But I tend to think that this is quite often misused by the governments or the sub-government levels, basically in the end to keep the national control over a critical asset.
Oscar, may I bring you on the same topic, please?
Sure. So yeah, Germany is a pain. I may tell to you. So, but it's also part of the value adds or our business model. Probably in Germany, each jurisdiction is different, and there is no. So probably the most advanced or secure the countries are, the more difficult it is to develop or to get all these permits. So Germany probably has its own issues. That basically is that there is a strong push from the central government and the EU in order to install new renewable energy, but the regulation is on a local and regional side. So there is a political, I will not say fight, but misalignment between the landers and the local governments that are not interested on the energy, or not so much interested on the energy security than the landscape of their citizens. So that's why we find this opportunity in Germany, and we create this company. So because the repowering, it's probably one of the compromise solutions, the easiest compromise solutions, because at the end of the day, you are dismantling old turbines, putting new turbines, and you have certain bargain ability with the local government to say, okay, I'm gonna be decommissioning these 3 old turbines, I wanna put only one that's gonna put in a site that it doesn't impact to your landscape, but it's the key point or the key issue on the renewable or the energy transition that we all want on a general level, but on the actual local stuff, so it's not in my backyard. So.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience, please?
And by the way, if you
please.
think that Germany it's a pain, not think about France. Much more worse. So in terms of yes, the permits and so on. So in Germany, it may take for us, and it's Borja here, head of Germany, 4 or 5 years. It's true that it's repowering. In France, you may be 10 years, so easily to get a permit. So it may be worse.
And may I bring in the other topic we discussed throughout the morning already, artificial intelligence. Does AI make your work easier or more complex or difficult, or adds it another live facility, or has AI not necessarily any what you're doing at the moment?
For the current level of our investment, it has no immediate effect. I mean, obviously, we all hope that it will make the grids smarter, etc. But I think for the immediate day-to-day business, that's not yet something that affects us. But obviously, I mean, markets are moving fast.
Any application for you from your perspective?
Yeah, probably two messages. One is yes, and the other not much. So let's say, so the first question, yes, has applications specifically on the company corporate general stuff.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of processes and tasks that we did, and we were even discussing a couple of hours ago. So that, out of the 200 permits that we need, probably AE maybe managing half of it by itself. So because at the end of the day, it's introducing, submitting papers in one body, the local body, or whatever. So and it's something that we are start using. On the general infrastructure world of investing massive amounts of capital, return, and so on, still we are not seeing, let's say. But this is coming. So we need to adapt and to evolve.
Thank you so much. On this note, we're coming close to 1 o'clock. There will be lunch served outside where we just had our coffee. We will reconvene in an hour and a half at 2:30. I believe, if this is correct. Let me just double check this. Yeah, 2:30. Thank you. I'd like to thank our two most respected speakers, Andreas and Oscar, for their brilliant presentations, answering all our questions. And please put your hands together to thank them. Thank you.